and welcome to Stampscaping 101. We have Nature's set number 26 here. It's number 47B as in boy. And as you can see, it features fences here. The larger one, the medium one, or this is, I don't know what you call the regular one, and the large one, whatever you want to call it. And kind of the background fences that link up with either side of these different sizes right here. This is a left and right side, and this is a left and right side right here, and we also have that in the background ones. They don't have to be used in conjunction with one another, but the option is always there, and that's what we want when we get our stamps. We want options and different ways to use them. Okay, now I have the cling foam version right here. It's just pre-trimmed and ready to go. If you've never used rubber stamps before and only used things like the clear stamps or something like that, the cling foam ones are a pretty good way to go unless you have, like I do, I have tack and peel on acrylic blocks, or you can have like a clear stamp from Purple Onion if you use things like a Misty or just any other type of stamp positioner, okay? But let's see what we can do with these ones right now. I know how these kind of all work together in theory, and I think I'm pretty good at kind of envisioning them in application, you know, having been designing stamps now for, oh boy, I don't know, probably since 1988 or so. It goes back quite a ways. I haven't always done kind of the modular style of system of stamps. That started all around 1990 or whatnot, but that was when I first created the first kind of modular sets of the nature type of series, and that was for a stamp in the hand back when. And that started an entire kind of genre of stamping in terms of the nature designs, and I've been kind of trying to perfect the, I don't know, the system since then. Every batch of designs I'm trying to look for kind of additional ways to improve the designs and whatnot. And that's always the goal, right? Okay, so this is the dirt road. I'm just going to try these stamps out with some various designs here. I've got to get used to using these and see how they work. Some of these fences you can use on one side of a road or path. Fences are a really great visual lead-in, okay? Really great for compositions that way, okay? Go like this. You see that kind of curving around into the distance like that. And, I don't know, you can go with a larger one like this, or right here, you can also go, I got to get used to looking at these fences in reverse like this. Let's try this one right here. Remember, I haven't been looking at these kind of in reverse since I drew them. I got to make sure that, okay, that's the opposite side. When you kind of conceive of these, you kind of, you have to kind of envision them and then kind of put them into application. Okay, now see how that kind of curves around like that? You can kind of create this enclosed pasture like that. And then we do that. And then, for the thing off to the side, you can do something with your sedge filler stamp. The sedge filler stamp comes separately, either a la carte or it's like in Nature's set number 7. Okay, so you create this field off to the side like that. Maybe I will use a part of this right here. A lot of people think, oh, well, see, this is not outline style of design stamp usage, okay? Where if you don't stamp out the entire image, it just doesn't make sense. Like you wouldn't do like a word stamp or like an animal, like an outline teddy bear, and have like its feet in the scene, but missing its head or something like that, or you're not going to stamp half of the head, but nature designs aren't like that. If you maximize the usage of your designs, you're using them in their entirety. You're using them partially and with sibling designs. Okay, so here's another fence like this. I can have this one coming in like this, this portion of it, and it can be coming in from this side like this. Just I'm going to stamp it lower because this is the larger version of it. Okay, so I go like that. See that opening like that? And then here's the the other side of the fencing. And I mean, not everything's like perfect. It's not necessarily flanking. This is like an entry to, who knows, like a farm or something like that. Okay, now let's see which side goes like this. Okay, I can finish this off like this. Or, I mean, you don't have to have another fence. This could be at the entry point, but you can have this right in here. Or, I tell you what, let's try something here. Put this in here. Oh, let's try this right here. And this would be better with my smaller cabin for scale, but I think it'll do. You might need a little bit more. We're going to be using a lot of ink in this stamp sketch video here, so re-ink. Now this is what I always recommend when you get a new series set, is to try it out with your stamp sketches. Now, fences, I mean, you could do an entire scene with them, but they really work best in conjunction with other designs. Okay, so I'm going to put this cabin like right here. I think a smaller one in here would, work a little bit better. But why not put this here? It's like the road relating right to that cabin. But look at this really great visual lead-in now. And this is just a small portion of that larger fence. And by stamping it lower, we're saying that this one, by relation, is closer to us. Anything that's lower in the composition is closer, right? This is the closest part to the road. Higher up here is the more distant part of the road. And I mean, you could continue with this theme here. Let's go with this fence like this, or which one is it? Let's go with this right here. Yeah, maybe I'll go with the smaller one. Hey, this is my first time using it. And I designed these a long time ago. So, okay, I'm going to go like this here. See that there on the horizon? You can create another fence like that, and you can continue this over here like this, okay? So, or use the other side, that might be a little bit easier, but let's just use this side like this. Okay, now I only have this in the nature sheet. I don't have these individually. If you get like, I don't know, not even if you get like half of these, it would be the same price as the entire sheet. That so I don't know. I just think that was a better way to go. I know some of you are saying, but I only want the one. Okay. See that right there? So you got some more fences right there. It's going right in back there. So now you have a cabin with fence. I do have this. This image right here is called cabin with fence. But now we've created this enclosure. No, I mean, you could do all kinds of things like this. You see this, how I have that sedge filler? It's right on the horizon, the sedge filler. Sedge filler could be foreground grass like that, right? But then you can also go in the distance like that. And you have this distant hill. And you're saying, oh, wait a minute, why didn't you mask off the cabin? If I'm going to stamp this over like this much, 1 inch into it, I'll probably mask that off. But I have those trees right there, so I just stamp it right into the trees. And the fence is solid, so you can stamp it right over the fence. You don't have to mask off, okay? That's the big part, where people, once people do like 1 or 2 of these different types of cards like this, without masking, without careful positioning, stamping platforms, lining up, and you do that with your outline design. So if I was going to stamp this, and I'm going to stamp a fence in back of it, you got to mask that off, because that's an open design. That's not Stampscapes design, but you have to do that. But with my stamps, you don't have to do that. That's the part that people find hard. People find the ease in terms of concept, the hard part in theory, because that's what they've always been doing. Okay, so that is that. Now let's do something where, you know how I use that road right there, the dirt road? Let's just create our own path using these fences, okay? All right. And you're saying, well, what do you mean by that? Well, we'll just do this thing where we flank off an entryway. And, by the very nature of doing that, you're creating this, implied path or whatnot. Now, using these two of these, maybe it's better if I do a slimline card, but like I said, this is not... I'm going to do rule of thirds, okay? Instead of having, this road, a fence here and a fence there are both equal, I'm going to go rule of thirds, so I'm going to come in a little bit farther with this one like this, okay? Rule of thirds mean you're kind of lining up your visual kind of, your dominant focal areas, or creating them with the use of kind of the thirds. So this, if you divide this up into thirds, my entryway right here, opening, will be kind of in the third, I don't know, whatever section. I almost said third quadrant, I'm glad I didn't say that. Okay, and we'll go with the other side like this. Okay, so this one's the right side. All right, coming in like this. I'll go like about like so. You can go higher, lower too. Doesn't have to be like exactly on there like that. But see that opening like that? This little path or whatever leading to whatever you want. I'll try the snowy covered bridge later. Here's another road right here from Nature's set number 2. That might be kind of interesting, I think. Oh, well, that's looking at it backwards. You would think I would kind of clue in, having been stamping for a long time, as to reading things kind of backward. Okay, let's see. Let's try it, okay? I just wanted to create my own road here, so you'd use the sedge filler on the left and right hand side and whatnot, and I'd put some like pebbly textures down here or something like that. It wouldn't represent something like a paved road. It's more of a dirt road, country road, right? Okay, now I think it would have been better if I did fences around my road, just like I did that road up there, but let's just do it this way. Okay, and we'll go about like so. Okay. Not too bad. I stamped that's on the road, see, right there. But we do have our sedge filler, so what you do is you just go sedge filler, and you bring that, grassy area on the side of the road right down to the road, okay? You fill in like this around here. See how easy that works like that? And look how perfect that is. See that? It kind of ended up there, but I just stamped that texture right here, right along. There's no masking or anything else that you need to do. All right, now over here, I have some kind of open area. Let me see, where did my little trees go? Tree cluster. And let's mask some of this off right here and put some trees in here. Okay. Remember, using smaller portions of it for what you want, right? So I can just use the tips of them like this. And look at how that creates distant trees like that, right? So, Stampscape stamps, I want it really universal. I believe in best bang for the buck, and that's in creating stamps as well. So here's one stamp like that. Here's another stamp like that. Another stamp like that. I don't know, it's like 4 stamps in one, right? I never used it in its entirety. I could have, I could have stamped it right back there and right in back of the fence, but there it is again. There it is again down here, and here's another one up there. I can even do another hill back there with the sedge filler and use maybe, a 1/16 of an inch of that tree in the distance like that, but I think that's enough. But now, what do you think about those fences? It doesn't seem like too farm-like because there's these pines in here, so I'm not going to pin it in with, additional smaller fences in the distance. You could, could be a little country road or something like that. I don't know, grown over or whatnot. You're going up into the mountains, and it's I don't know, whatever it would be. Okay, so that looks good there. So far, so good. It's working out pretty much like I don't know, envisioned. Let's go with the snow-covered bridge here. It doesn't matter what paper you do. Maybe I should try one. Do a little stamp sketch. Whenever you do a stamp sketch on a piece of foil, it's more of like a kind of a finished piece, though, than a stamp sketch. So let's try this right here. I'm doing these on both matte and I don't know if I've done it on gloss. This is the matte. I haven't done it on glossy yet. Stamp sketches, you know what I mean? It's not going to be on what you stamp on is not going to be an issue because you can do any type of composition on any type of surface. Now, if you're doing it on foils or something like that, use your Brilliance pigment ink with that, or like a StazOn, so that it dries. But compositionally, doesn't change the capabilities of the stamps. Okay, now let's see right here. Now you see this right here, where I have these fences like that, right? It's this one, right? No, it's that one right there, I think. This one. Okay. So that one is this one. Okay. Now here's the thing. Okay, now those match up pretty well, but see how this image, it really kind of starts curving around like that, right? That doesn't match up too well with this one, because this one's more of a kind of a straight on right here. Okay? So what you do is you just count off like this. Okay, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 posts like that, right? I don't let this complicate, don't let this confuse you or something like that. It's not like, oh my God, how many fence posts, can I do, or it's wrong. I could do all of them if I want to, but I just think it's going to look a little bit straighter if we do this one. Now, remember how I was just using maybe this portion of it coming in from the side on the other one? Well, you can just do this portion of it instead of the front, right? So let's give that a try. Okay, let me see. Now, see, I'm looking at it right there. That's my last post. I put my finger right where it is, okay? I'm just kind of measuring it up roughly with this other post like that. Yeah, one's barbed wire and this one's not. Who cares? Okay, let's see how that kind of follows along like that. So any of you that have that set or that image, look at what you can do now. You can do it all those posts like that, and these right here. This should match up like this, okay? Let's give this one a try here, right? Kind of getting the, I don't know, envisioning, the possibilities. Hopefully you are. I'm needing to envision the possibilities myself here. Okay, now this one, you can ink up as much as you want, but it's going to be coming off the page like this. So I'm just going to go like this. And we're going to go like that. No, it doesn't actually match up real well. I mean, you can draw in another post, though. You don't have to be an artist, okay? For this one, just go like this, you know. It's just a line like that, okay? Like that, and that goes in there. You see what I mean? All right? But you're also going to fill in, too. Okay, now I wouldn't use the sedge filler in here. I have the snowy texture. That would be better for that one, okay? And some little rocks in here or something of that sort. But what you can do is you can put a little drift back here, or you can put in some more trees or something like that, you know, something of that sort. But you continue your piece out this. Let me see if I have I usually have my little pebbles around here somewhere. Yeah, okay, I do. All right, let's do this. Let's get our little tiny rocks here, I think would be best for this. All right, tiny rocks. And start to fill this out about like so. Okay. Notice how I'm using it in multiple impressions. And I'm coming up into the design too. Okay, so you see how that starts to come out like that. Now I'd be colored, remember this is going to be colored in if this is a wintry scene. I would typically use some blues or, you know, something like that. And let's do something here. Let's see if I have some little brushy types of things. I was really going to do more kind of sweeping, you know, kind of applications of these designs, but if I have it on my desk here, if you never clean your desk, you'll have much better access to all of your material. I'm joking right here. Clean your desk sometime, which I need to do. Okay, let's take some of this. This is the winter brush. Okay, I'm just putting some of this at the base of the fence, about like so. See that? Doesn't it look like I have smaller versions of this and that would be better, but see that right there? It's kind of like a little winter brush, whatnot. And like I said, I don't have my snowy little thing out, texture here, which I would be using in that space. I'm tempted just to throw some trees in the background here again, like that. Okay, get the picture? You can put those back in the distance like that. I'm going to just leave this one like this. What I always do with all these stamp sketches is I go back in and I finish them off, because when I see something like this, I can't stand them just sitting around like that. I want to finish them off because I want to see what they look like. Okay, so let's go to, here. Let's go with this. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, now the fences are dark and everything like that. They're for the most part silhouette, but I have a lot of texture in there where they're capturing the light, so we have them top lit like that. But I oscillate it a little bit. I go with a darker one right here, and this one's a little bit more irregular. It's like a flatter side on top. You know, it's a rustic fence, so it's not like something that you're going to be buying at like a Home Depot or something like that. These are unique pieces of wood on this old rustic fence, and that's what makes the fence kind of rustic looking, is the irregularities like that. Okay, so that being said, they're dark for the most part, so that we can just stamp them into a piece like this and not worry about having to mask them off. Okay. All right. Now when you do this, it's kind of going up on a slope like that. So I have this side kind of going up like that. I don't have it like that. Okay. But I mean, if if you're a little bit off or whatever, it's not going to matter. The fences aren't like precision made, like I said. It's not like a chain link fence or something like this. These things are old. They're teetering and whatnot. Okay, so I'm stamping this in like so. Okay. I'm going to show you something with that darker aspect of them like that. Okay. I've been stamping in lighter imagery in the background, okay? But you can stamp in some darker imagery. Let's go with, some of the darkest ones. Let's go with, let's say that we're walking around in, the giant sequoias or something like that with something like this, okay? Now, if I stamp this behind that fence, that's really going to, you could just do it in black, okay? But that's really going to merge in with this fence here, right? So what you do, and I have a video on this, I do kind of fade outs, okay? And it's nothing more than just taking your image, wherever you're going to stamp it in here, okay? I'm going to stamp it right here. It'll be, the fence will go up into this tree about 1 inch, okay? So what I'm going to do, this is your technique right here, all right? I'm wiping it off pretty good at the base, okay? And then as I move up, I'm using a little bit less pressure on my finger like this, okay? So it's going with kind of less and less ink removal. Now I just re-inked my pad, so I'm going to have to be mindful, and I'm going to have to remove quite a bit of this. But see, I'm transitioning this from a lot of ink off to less, and then that's a full, inking of it up there, okay? So like that. And we're just going to stamp it out like so, okay? Hopefully I took off enough ink. I don't know if I did. I really made my pad really juicy, so we'll see. Oh, okay. See that right there? See how it transitions like that? And now that looks like it's kind of like in morning fog or something like that, okay? Let's see. Let's go with, here. Here's the tree trunk trio, all right? Let's do this right here, even. Let me blot it off like this. Stamp it out, one. It's doing more than blotting, but I removed quite a bit of ink. Now, if I stamp this again, it's probably going to be a fairly strong impression. Like I said, I just re-inked this, so... and then you're going to wipe it off again like this, okay? And base up like this. These are easy techniques, but you just have to remember to do them all. Everyone can do these, okay? But the thing is, you're just not going like this, wiping really hard so that you have this hard edge that's just ink, and then no ink, okay? You want less ink, little bit more, and then full inking up here, like that, okay? So that's all wiped off down here. So I could stamp it right over my fences like this. Again, no masking required. And remember, this one's a little bit lighter to begin with like that. But look at that. And that's your lighting in there too. So you have a head start in your inking. Imagine this in like a blue-toned sequence with like snow on the ground or something like that. Doesn't it already have that kind of spirit of kind of mistier types of formations in the background? Okay, so that is that. As a composite, it'd be kind of interesting to put like a person standing there, like you're in a national park or something like that. I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to use this one like this fencing right back here. Okay, like you're kind of walking around in a little forest, national park. I mean, It's going to go like this. Okay. Like that. And let's do this right here. Now this one, let me blot this off pretty good, okay? That's a pretty strong impression on my blotter paper down there, okay? And I'm going to take off quite a bit of ink here, like about like so. More so at the base, okay? Like the the more distant, the objects in fog, the more light in value they become, and kind of more obscured because light is hitting that object and it's coming back to your eye through a lot of suspended moisture, reflected moisture in the air. So you have that. See that right there? Wouldn't that be cool to have like a little person like that walking down this little area, and we can darken it in over here? I think that's the way this one's going to go. And let's go with this right here. Let's put in some little pebbles or something of that sort. Let's go with the sedge too. Okay. See how that sedge goes like that? It's just right over in these areas like that. Okay. And a little bit of this texture going in like this. You're almost using this rock stamp as, it's almost a toning device as well, because you're adding it in different values and densities, okay? You see how that goes like that? And now from the distance, I use the lighter version of it like that, okay? Now, we'll be coloring in here, so it'll be bringing things together even more so. But, let's see. Now look at that. There's a foundation. You know, that little bushy types of things like that. But look at this visual lead-in. Isn't that a strong visual lead-in? And like I said, we can kind of darken it in right around here and here. It really has a strong pull going out there into the distance. And around these trees, it's like a maze or something like that. What you want to do is you want to compel your viewer to, want to enter the scene or explore it. You want to create something conducive for and inviting for exploration. Okay, I'm just doing this little tree in the background like that. I just stamped it right in here. It's just one part of that, small stamp. I'm just using this little portion of it. We could put some more in the background like that, but I think this would be a perfect spot for some sort of I don't know, something back there, that we can do. Or, maybe it'll be a deer or something like that, but the strong visual lead-in, getting the viewer's eye to look right in there. I can do other things in between these trees too, but, I think that'll be colored in for the most part. But there we go with that one. Okay. Now this is just something where I was demonstrating on glossy cardstock how to apply inks, I guess, kind of in this streaking type of motion. You can even do a aurora borealis if you do it this way. I would finish it off. I wouldn't just have it like that. Or this could be a body of water. Okay, but again, it could be like a snowy terrain. But I thought, okay, this has just been sitting on my desk for a while. So I did a couple of these. This one was showing kind of what not to do with these little blocky things like that. I don't remember what it was for when I did it, or even how long it's been sitting on my desk there, but okay, let's try something here. Let's use, a large portion of these fences. Okay. This is just dye-based ink that I'm using. Like I said, you can use a StazOn. There's some types of glossy cardstocks that just, when you stamp on them with the dye-based ink, it just takes longer for that dye-based ink to dry. You can heat set or whatever you need to do, and that should do really well. But just test. But don't stamp something out on glossy cardstock with a brand new stamp pad and go like this and say, oh my god, it smeared on me. You know what I mean? Of course it's going to smear. You got to allow that ink to soak in there. Oh, here's another thing that I'm going to do. Okay, now see how that fence goes off like that? Okay, now we have this fence like this, okay? Now that's only going to reach right here because it's going to end right here. But what if I put this fence like right in here? Then I'm going to have this area right here, right? Well, do you know what to do for that? Let's do that. And we'll kind of work that, you know, kind of rule of thirds type of thing here, maybe. Let me go a little bit farther down. Just so it isn't so symmetrical from one side to the next, or mirrored, I guess you can say, okay? So we have this right here, okay? But now what do I do right here, okay? Well, let's see if I can just eyeball it here. A lot of times I get a little bit of practice going with my stamps, and, you know, I'm going to be a little bit better at matching it up, but, I mean, it shouldn't be hard if I've done this properly. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up, about like so. Okay, I inked up that post a little bit too, but maybe that won't be a problem as I'm going into that other post. Okay, see that right there? This is inked up like from here over. I got a little bit of that post on there too, but so you can kind of, well, let's see, it's the side of the post. Okay, so like that. And I'm going to go a little bit down, okay? So I'm going like this. Oops, I got another. I stamped that post way too over a bit. But you can see where this kind of goes in here like that, okay? Okay, I stamped it way too far in like that. Okay, I had it over here. I was thinking it was over there. But anyways, you can see how those match up like that. Or also this side right here, you can use that over here too. Okay, so you can use either side. You can just kind of repeat it. And in theory, you can go like way over here too, just by repeating that again. What I would do is I just wouldn't, you know, ink that up quite as much over there. I would just ink up the posts. Okay, so that being said, let's kind of finish off a scene on here. Let's do, some sedge filler. Okay. Go like something like this. You can go for multiple impressions with this one. Okay, go like that. All right, I'll leave this kind of a little bit more bare. Okay, now I just did a straight line. Let's give it a little bit more of a, you know, kind of a sloping area like that. I think that makes it a little bit more interesting. And let's go with kind of this barn off in the distance or something like that. Okay, or you can go here. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think the larger one would look good in there. Like I said, I didn't grab all of my stamps out of here. I just grabbed a few, you know, without really kind of thinking about it too much, because in theory it should work with all of it, right? Okay, I'm going to wipe off the bottom of this a little bit. When I have things going into kind of grassy meadow, I wipe off the bottom typically. You know, so if it's like a horseback rider or something like that, I wipe off their feet a little bit so it looks like they're standing in grass. That's one of those little things that you do. You don't stamp out all of your images, okay, all the time. You gotta wipe off little portions of it here and there. That's the difference between this and kind of using outline designs. You know, I love outline designs and things like that, linear ones too. But there are just certain things that you don't need to do, or that you can do to tonal designs that will just really, really push their capabilities to work for you to create a much more varied terrain, okay? And you just get much more, you know, money, you know, you get more of your money's worth out of the imagery if you can use it in, you know, just multiple ways. Okay, so that being said, let's add some of these trees in. Let me go like this down here. I'll kind of obscure that that post a little bit. See if I add these trees behind there like that. I'm just using the entire tree cluster, okay? And I'm just going to mask off like this with my very high-tech mask. like this. There's trees on the hillside, right? On the other side. Here's trees a little bit closer to us because remember, I'm stamping it lower. Things that are lower to us, like this fence post here is lower than that. That means this is closer, right? All right. Doesn't mean you can't have, all the trees in the distance have to be smaller. It could just be a younger tree, right? That's closer. I could, in other words, I can just stamp a really small one right down here. Let's do that. It's just this little bit of a tree growing right past the fence, okay? Like that. All right, and obscured kind of fence post in there, okay? So this is like the ranch out wherever it is. Out in the trees. All right, and something like that. All right. Let's go back with our little tiny rocks stamp. This is one of those types of scenes where it kind of represents something a little bit more, not like a working farm or something like that, but that's that's where the ranch was, and the barn's still kind of standing, whatnot, like that. Let's leave that on there. I might use that again. And let's try her, a little lady writer. She's on vacation. She's kind of likes riding around the the acreage, checking things out. Okay, you can put her wherever you want. I'm going to put her a little bit higher up like this. Something like that. I could put her down here, but we're saying if I put her real low, I'm saying that the fence posts are rather high, okay? So let's go like this right here. I might have put that horse's head. Oh, a little bit too much into that tree. That looks okay, though. But look at that. And see, that barn, the base of it is higher up than the base of this. If I put her up there, I'd be saying, either this is like a little toy barn or she's like, like a giant or something like that. But as long as the feet of this are lower than the base of the barn, we have it in scale, okay? That's all you have to think about. The lower you have something, if it's at the same distance or something like that, you're saying that they're at the same distance, visually speaking, okay? But see that strong visual lead-in like that, going straight to her? Huh. All right. Oh, here. Let's do this right here. Let's create some stronger foreground like this. This is just the reeds. Have you forgotten all about that other post right there at this point in time? See? You know what I mean? It doesn't really show. And I haven't even toned it in. We would tone in even more, probably. See this right here? This is coming from the base, off my page. So this grass here represents grass that's even closer to us, right? Because it's clear off the page. So that's why it works in scale like that. Okay, but there goes our strong visual lead-ins on a, pretty big scene. This is 11 inches right here. So that's an 11-inch card. Here's this one on a quarter-page card. You see how it works like that? Some people, like I said, some people think, oh, but I'm not going to stamp out, an 11-inch thing. Well, this is, this is a quarter page right here, and that's where that card, that fence goes and comes into play. Same thing with this one right here. Here's the large fence. But you just use a small portion of it, And look at this. It points right to our cabin right there in terms of scale. Okay, I've been using a lot of my covered bridges. Oh, here we go. Looking for my paper. Okay, now this would be a good one to do with coloring our trees on our covered bridge, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to do, I need my bigger acrylic block here. I'm seeing these fences as potentially a visual lead-in for, it seems like it'd work for anything. Can you imagine having some fences like this and you have the ocean right up here? You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, it could, you know, the ocean stamp, the seaside code could also be a lake. Now, I don't know if this is going to work because I didn't clean off my stamp at all, and I could see a bunch of my gold brilliance ink all over this. See that right there? So I hope, you know, that I get a full impression, but we'll see. Let's do it vertical. I've been doing everything portrait formatted, you know, horizontal. Let's go vertical on this one. Okay? So again, we have that curling type of road like that. Okay. And I haven't used my acrylic blocks so much on one video as I am right now. Okay, let's see here. Which side is it? Is it this side? No, it's not that side. It's this side right here. Okay. Oh. I don't need that sticky because I'm using the cling version of it. Okay, let's see. That's right here. Okay, again, I think this one will be just better off without these posts right here curling around like that. So let's just do it like about like so. And I'm just inking up all the way on. I'll just wipe off what I don't need. That's easier. Okay, and now this, I probably should have gone this over here so I have more room for my fence, okay? But let's just do this anyways, okay? I'll just have a little bit of it like that. Okay? It's a little bit too big, I know. But let's just give it a try. Okay, let's see here. Let's try this one right here. I think this one's, I think this is kind of pushing the, it's kind of pushing things a little bit in terms of usage. But that's what stamp sketching is kind of about. It's about kind of testing out, you know, the possibilities of something. I always tell you, you know, in a lot of my videos, not quite so much instruction as it is just turning on the camera when I'm doing my own type of, you know, explorations right there. Okay, now in theory you might have, you know, some fencing kind of coming along like this, but this kind of, I think this looks fine like this. It created an S-curve, and I think an S-curves in designs and compositions right there really create a nice kind of visual grace. Okay, so now instead of this road just kind of winding around this way, by having this, what it's doing is it's kind of doing this, and then it's coming around like that. So there's your S like that. And anytime you do that type of thing, like I said, it creates kind of a nice visual form within your pieces. All right. Tiny rock, small, don't leave home without it. I don't use it all the time, just joking, but I do use it quite a bit. See that? See how that carried that out there? All right. Just in terms of a textural form. And then you would do it with color and lighting and all that type of fun stuff too. All right. Let's see here. I have the small sedge filler in that covered bridge set, but I'm just going to use this one because I have it right there. All right. And then you can use something like your maple pear tops. All right. To fill that out. Okay. All right, so anyways, look at that. It's a little bit more of a stronger visual lead-in than not having it there, I guess, right? I don't know, do you agree? And this is not the fence portion of this video, but okay, now like I said, I mean, if I colored this in, that would, you know, add more visual variety to this piece right here, but I just want you to get a good idea of what these fences will look like in application, you know, with a full composition like this. This is your matte paper. It's the silk weight one, so it has a little bit of a coating on there. Colored pencils, dye-based inks, alcohol inks, whatever you want to finish this off with. Pastels will work on this, okay? Right, so that's your kind of focal, you know, your composition. Like I said, if I'm doing this in fall tones, I would, you know, or I could still do it. I could stamp that out in some reds and oranges so that I get the color in the impressions themselves. But you can get a good idea of what this would look like just as is, okay? Let's do something with this too while I have this, the leaves stamped out. Let's go with this. And have some kind of foliage, you know, coming from overhead, you know, from these trees. Look at that right there. That really kind of creates that little opening like that for kind of us to go under the canopy of trees, doesn't it? All right. So I think I've stamped out everything that I was going to try out on the with the designs. It works pretty much to specifications. Let's try let's do a little bit more of that. Let's do one more with more of that kind of wraparound type of format here, okay? Let's do this. I think this would be better for my smaller cabin like this, but let's do this right here. Okay. Okay, let's see if I've learned anything from this. Okay, I'm wiping off that post, the second post completely there. Okay. And let me see. Okay, I went to about right there. Okay. Oh, there we go. I didn't wipe it off enough, but there you go, like that. And then let's do that barn in the distance. Well, not too far in the distance. Or let me see here. Let me see if I have that little kind of my smaller cabin right in here. I think that would be perfect for this. Let me go grab. Okay, here we have our smaller cabin. Of course, it was in my absolute bottom tray in the last one I looked in. Okay. All right, let's go like this. Down here, I'm kind of going a little bit lower on this one. some of that fence post right in the foreground might be going up into it, but it doesn't mean it's, oh my God, that fence post is spearing that. It's, it's, I don't know, 30 feet away from the cat, 50 feet away from that, the front of it. And right back there, let's see. It is this, like that. Okay. All right. All right, so it's kind of wrapping around there. That doesn't look that great like that, but it's not anchored any either. It's just like the fences like out in space or something like that. Okay, so let's put it down on the ground. Okay, so we need to, position it on something like this. Okay. That fence, I probably should have stamped the cabin first. I usually tell people to do that, not the foreground image. The foreground images usually go in like last. Okay. I usually tell people to stamp your focal point, then you do your filler stamps around, and the fences are really kind of filler stamps. But okay, that's that there. And let's do let's see here. Let's see if I can do like that smaller fence. Like, where's the one that I just used? Okay. This. Okay, here. But I'm used to using these smaller ones. Not real used to it. It's kind of, it's kind of doing what I want it to do. No problem. Okay, now where did I just ink it up to? I inked it up to right here. Yeah, I'm not getting it exactly on there. Oops. That was like a little bit too much. Okay, that goes back there. All right. My fences are all kind of wonky right in there, but I'll show you what you do with that. Okay, so that is that. And let's just take this. I've been just using the same tree like that. We should vary our trees a little bit, but I'm just kind of hurriedly stamping some things out. These trees are in the foreground like this, okay? Now, where I didn't feel like taking the time to exactly match things up perfectly or at all, I am just getting a smaller portion of my tree and stamping it right in front of that fence. Then there, it's gone. Okay, let's do this right here. Let's create another slope back there, because if you're fencing off something, you're putting the fence in something, so you're not kind of fencing off the edge of the world or something like that. So let's create this little sloping hillside in the background. This, and I'm just using a bunch of little impressions of the tops of my trees to create a little bit of a, tree-lined terrain back up there. Some of the trees are coming down into here because they hide my, little errors and whatnot. Okay, but anyway, we have our little tree in there. I put, some animals in here. That would make sense that you would have this kind of penned off or whatever. You can even do like a fence up here too. Maybe not these curved ones, but, just a straight line one. And that would look pretty cool, I think. All right. Here we go. See, I even put these little textures down here in the grass. as rocks. It just kind of makes it a richer textural statement like that than just, just only those, the grassy forms like that. It kind of gives structure to something and visual weight, okay? And foreground like that. I can put a little like a rising moon or something like that coming from the back of the hill and illuminating this area. I think that would be kind of cool. All right. So you see how you use this fences. If you get something, I'm not taking the time to match all that stuff up perfectly. But if it doesn't match up, oh my god, I got an extra post in there. Just stamp something right over it. This is scenic stamping that we're doing here. There's things out in nature, like bushes and trees and things like that. You don't like something, stamp something in front of it. And it makes perfect sense. Okay, now what if Oh! I saw the curvilinear road, and I really wanted to try it with the curvilinear road. For any of you who might have curvilinear road, let's see what this one might look like. I already feel like I've gone through all of my black ink in here, my re-inking. Might be time to re-ink once again. All right, let's go about like that high right here. Okay, and I should have wiped that off a little bit down there, but that's what I have my tiny rocks for. Okay, now let's see. I'm trying to see if this one will match up right here. I don't want to curve my fence around too much like this, you know what I mean? All the posts would kind of be going out like that, but let's see if we can do something with this right here. So this would be really going, we'd be covering up some of the road right here. But let's just see what that could potentially look like, okay? Let's go like this. Let's try it here, okay? I'm curving this I'm angling it, not curving it, but angling it by quite a bit here. Probably some of it's going to be on the road like that. But you know what I mean? See like that? It's pretty extreme, but I think it looks okay. I didn't take off enough ink last time, and it left an impression out here where I just wanted kind of this back area like that. Okay, let's see. Okay, there. What is it, the third time the charm or something like that? So see here, this is going down here. Okay, now fences aren't always on both sides of the road. I guess I could hit this again on the other side of the road. It's the same height, though. I guess you can kind of make it smaller by doing a little bit of masking. Oh, why not? Let's just try this. I don't think it's going to go in there really well, because it would kind of be smaller, I think. But why not? Let's mask this off like this. Okay, I'm going to try to hit this a little bit lower to not stamp out the full impression. Okay, well, let's just take a look. That's not too bad, huh? You know what I mean? It's missing some of the posts down below where I've masked off, but that's not too bad. Okay, now this is some grassy textures. Here's the grassy texture instead of the sedge filler. You know, if you want it kind of a larger grass textures down here. Okay, see that right there? Now, I mean, we could wrap that around, you know, with a little bit more, you know what I mean? But that fence would be kind of on the other side of this bluff. I could extend that out too, right there, you know, with the smaller ones. I don't want to do it like out there though, okay? Oh, let's try this right here. You know, you saw how this looked kind of behind the fence, kind of, it's almost down slope or something like that. Let's do it right up on the top of that bluff. Okay, take this, set it out of here. Just don't stamp it up too high. If you stamp it up too high and there's space in between, just fill it, some of it in with the sedge filler. Okay, we'll just go like this. And how's that look right there? That's a pretty strong visual lead-in to the cabin, isn't it? It's kind of unbalanced, but imagine a setting sun or something like that. Or, you know, something of that sort out there. Wouldn't that look good? Let's just create a little bit of visual weight right now, you know, without having gone into, you know, kind of a sky element or something like that in the background. Or, I mean, we could still do that even if you don't have this, but let's put a little tree on this side. I'll just kind of stamp out about half of it, like that. See how that kind of, it balances it out a touch, right? But now let's put some of these trees behind the slope right here, okay? So go like this. You see how this works? Like that? Boy, that's looking pretty good with those fences. And go like this, and I'll go a little bit farther down like this. See, like that? Wouldn't this be fantastic with a little quote up here or something like that? Happy birthday or whatever. Could be some sunshine or something like that. A sunset, a rising moon, clouds, whatever. Could be blue sky. A little quote stamp or something like that too. All right, so, well, as I look at this right here, we did portions of the tree. I feel like I'm doing a stamp sketching for you with the tree cluster and sedge, you know, filler more than the fence thing. But this is all kind of fundamentals of, you know, Stampscape stamping right here. So here's the full tree right here on the side. Okay, and here. All right, see that right there? You have real tall grass. You have a little bit closer grass, you know, this grass texture like that. See that? And then you have the more distant grass. See how it becomes less and less defined like that? It becomes more texture. It's ridiculous to see it with some designing that people do is when they think about grass in the distance, they're thinking about blades of grass, so they drew these little check marks like this, and they're positives instead of the negative space like that, where things are defined by negative space and tone rather than little check marks, okay? That's not the way things look in terms of patterning like that. So it just becomes easier to use, you know, this way like that than a bunch of like these little kind of, you know, frenetic little sketches like that. And it kind of creates chaos. But you want harmony as much as possible. Here's some little dirt road like that. And so, I mean, that fence, I thought it looked okay. I mean, it's really leaning over, and it really could use some maintenance, okay? But in a pinch, it goes like that. See, otherwise, it would have been like this and coming down here and very vertical or something like that. Or it would have been, see, this part would have been gone up into the road. But I think that looks pretty good like that. You know, everything's rustic, everything's kind of falling over and whatnot, and a little bit teetery. Oh, here's like a good comparison contrast right here, you know. Here's this other type of thing. This one looks much more kind of, you know, current and modern. Everything's vertical and kind of, you know, in place and whatnot. But, all right. So anyway, let's take a look and see what we have here. That was really fun. There's nothing better than just having stuff that works, and we want it to work right off the bat. All right. So we can see different looks like this. I think I'm just scratching the surface right here. One of the things I didn't do, you can also do something like this. I didn't do it here. I don't want to make this video, you know, 3 hours. But you can do something like this too, right? You can snap these like this. I had it going in like this as a visual lead-in, but if I have it like this, you know, it's like fences going off, and then we create this opening right here. Or you can use, you know, the post like this to close it off. Then you can put something like back in here, so something is like circling around something. Or you can have these just coming in from the outside edge like this, okay? And that creates a visual lead-in to the background like that, right? So it doesn't have to be like this. Going off into the distance, you have it right here, just as your foreground. And that would also apply, of course, to the smaller versions of it, wherever my other smaller version went. Oh, here it is, like this. See this right here? And see how these fit onto a quarter-page card like that. See that? How that would look? So you can do something like that. You know, it could be leading into trees or whatever, a cabin in the background, or a little person standing like that. But these two would be the thing that would flank them. If you can hear that piano, sorry about that. That is my son practicing, and whenever he practices, whenever your child's practicing something, you don't say, hey, stop the practicing, you know. You say, thank heavens they're practicing on their own. Okay, so let's take a look at these. Now, a lot of these images, you know, a lot of you are familiar with because you already have them. So just kind of new looks. I mean, this, to me, this really changes the spirit of this. It doesn't change the spirit, but it changes, I don't know, what of it, the dynamic of it suddenly with this S-curve type of line in here. I really like it. I thought this one was a little bit too large, but when I do put this one right here, it balances it off and kind of puts it in context. This is the same size as this one right here. Remember, I didn't stamp those last couple posts on this one, which would make it look like it's curving around down, you know, down the slope right there. So you just, you know, don't color them in like that. But this is a really strong visual lead, and I really like this one, and I like this S-curve right here. This one right here, you know, snowy covered bridge, you know, extending that out like that, curving it around like this, you know. It's kind of nice. It kind of frames this thing off like that. You know, using the larger ones and their full grandeur right here, I kind of overstamped this one out here. I guess what you can always do too, okay, this is what I didn't do. This is like the simplest thing to do. If you're going to match up these 3 posts over here, just so you don't get that overstamping, I don't know why I didn't do this. I'm a slow learner. But you just mask off that post there, and when you stamp that other one in here, it won't, you know, if you miss, you won't be printing it off in there. Okay? But no big deal. You know, I would just darken this in anyways, and you wouldn't be able to tell that happened, and you know, unless you're someone that watched this video. All right, crooked, you know, leaning fence posts like that, it's fine. And the background ones like this, kind of creating pens, right? Like that. And kind of enclosures in the distance and whatnot. All right, so anyways, that's your fences for you. I can't wait to utilize these, using them on foils and things like that. This was just kind of a compositional, I don't know, kind of acclimation video with using some stamp sketches and whatnot. I do have these little images in here like that, but I just kind of put them in there as little bonus stamps right there. Like I said, if someone bought like, this one, a couple of these other ones, you're up to the price of getting the full sheet anyway. And then I have these little tiny images like that. That little prairie dog would be fun. I thought he would be kind of cool next to, like a little fence post or something like that. If someone owns a farm, I like those little prairie dogs and they're digging up all their things. So that might not represent something cute to you, but I don't think too many of you are having prairie dog problems, where you have some kind of emotional type of, I don't know, kind of a feeling about them in a negative way. So, all right. Tons of fences and whatnot. If you have any questions, drop me a note in the comment section. And until the next video, which will probably be, I don't know, coloring one or two of these or whatnot. Thanks so much for watching.